And it's amazing, too. If they had not taken away raw milk, people could drink the raw milk and get the probiotics from the raw milk, which populate your intestinal flora, which crowd out these dangerous E. coli strains. So raw milk can actually help protect you against these outbreaks.
That's right. People eating, all the studies show, you're mentioning the bubble boy, you know, he couldn't handle stuff from the outside. Well, it's the opposite. People that have a dog or another animal, it shows you get more buffer flora and are much healthier. It's the kids that play in the dirt that are healthier throughout life.
That's right.
All these people eating dead foods have dead stomachs and are wide open to invading bacteria.
They're living in more and more in a sterile environment. Even parents, they're afraid to have their kids go outside and touch the dirt, you know? Oh, the evil dirt, how terrible. Well, other science shows that if you're in the dirt and you actually inhale some of the dirt microbes, they increase your cognitive function. They make you smarter. And they also boost your immune function. We need more probiotics. We need more living foods. But instead, the global elite, they're just taking them away one by one, destroying the markets.
Do they know why breathing in dirt, as I saw that new scientist reported on that last year, why breathing microbes in dirt makes you smarter? I guess it triggers some enzyme reaction, or the olfactory is excited by it and it causes neural connections to open. I know they don't know why. I'm speculating. Mike Adams, naturalnews.com. Stay with us. Final segment straight ahead right here on the GCN Radio Network. A ton of key news at GCNlive.com. I want to remind new listeners that over 4,000 American foster children in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s were radiated to death knowingly in radiation tests by the U.S. government. Europe did the same thing. Israel did the same thing. Israel, you know, to their children as well. You think Israel doesn't care about mowing down Palestinians. They don't care about frying their own kids. Same thing with our government. You know about the syphilis and the black men shooting them up with it. Now you know about it in Latin America, shooting the kids up. The UN constantly caught giving people polio, claiming it's a vaccine. So, of course, they would release a weaponized E. coli. In fact, it even came out that back, what was it, in 2001 or 2000, the British government had done a drill and was the source of the weaponized foot and mouth. That was used to target and knock out so many of the farmers there. So, yes, these are ruthless killers who want a scientific dictatorship. There's very small numbers of them at the top who use the bureaucracy to carry this out. Remember Rick Perry trying to force Gardasil that they knew was killing girls in trials on the children of Texas. Folks, we're not just here saying, oh, the government did this. We've learned to watch them. We've learned to study them. We've learned to see who they target. This is 100% staged, Mike Adams. Mike, how long will they go on with the deaths in Germany and the deaths in Europe and the hyping government takeover of everything?
Well, they will try to milk this for as much play as they can get. They want to spread as much fear as possible so that they can come in with the reaction solution and have people call for more food regulations. And, of course, they're going to crack down on the organic farms and the vegetable producers. And if this doesn't do what they want, they'll just stage another one, Alex. You know, look, if you get back to the genetic code of this strain of E. coli, you have to ask, who has the technical ability to create this? Because that will point you to who's doing it. And it's really only the drug companies or the government infectious disease organizations, such as the CDC in the United States. Similar organizations across Europe have that capacity. Maybe a university has the capacity, but this is really more of an expert creation of a bioengineered strain of E. coli. Now, if they do trace it back to a food, something like lettuce, let's say, then you have to ask, well, how did it get in the lettuce? Well, that's a simple matter. They could have taken dried E. coli powder and dropped it into a shipment of lettuce or dropped it into a shipment of seeds going to the sprouting company. They could have injected it into the food supply at any point so that they can target a specific food to blame for the outbreak. It's a simple matter. By the
way, British intelligence is saying Al-Qaeda might be involved. No proof, but maybe Adam Gadon will pop up and tell us he did it.
Maybe Bin Laden did it, Alex. He swam back out of the ocean and dropped some E. coli on the Germans. I mean, who knows what they're going to come up with next? They could come up with anything, and people would believe it. That's the thing. People are believing this in the mainstream, but of course, fortunately, more and more people are waking up in the alternative media and realizing that that story doesn't make sense. The real story is the story that we're explaining here. This has been engineered.
Well, what's the tipping point, though, when the alternative becomes the mainstream? I see that beginning to happen, and that's why the ruling establishment, the social engineers, are bum-rushing society on every front. That's why old Hades is starting to break loose. They're attempting to create enough chaos to pose as saviors to keep themselves in place.
Yeah, the tipping point is coming. More and more people are waking up, and those who aren't are frankly dying from things like E. coli or from things like vaccines. I had a guy tell me recently, hey, he thinks vaccines are a global IQ test, and those who fail the IQ test end up with infertility from vaccines or GMOs or fluoride. I mean, that's one way to look at it. Not my favorite way to look at it, but they're testing people.
Hey,
for sure.
I was out this weekend in public, and I was with my children at a restaurant. It was packed, and I was looking at children who were 7, 8, 9 years old, and they all talked like they were retarded and acted like they were retarded, all mildly autistic. And I was looking at everybody. They were like hit by a mutation ray. Folks, this is scary. Mike Adams, thank you so much. Retransmission starts now. PrisonPlanet.tv. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.